We're live. This is the check-in show, episode 8, not 7. What that? Oh shit, that graphic's wrong. There it is.
Off to a flying start.
Episode 8. Yeah, oh, you want to know something? I asked Ben for the headshot, thinking he could just fire it over to me, and then but Ben was out busy doing stuff, and then I got kind of busy when he was sent it to me. And I just said, yeah, great, thanks. And then I never get the headshot done. And then Claudio, and I don't create the event until I have the photos. And Claudio sent me, hey, do you have a link to the backstage? Like at, what was that? Was that at 1:30 or something, Claudio? And I went, oh, fuck. And so I had to go and modify Ben's photo, stick it into a thumbnail. Welcome, Ben. I hope you feel loved. We completely forgot about... Welcome to the check-in show. This is we're just checking in with each other because we care. That's the main point of the show. We're checking in with you, the audience, all the people who didn't know that this show was happening. It's happening now. So welcome. But we are, it's been a rough time, and it's been a rough time on everybody. So we want to kind of have a point to interact with other people in a polite and friendly way. And Ben's been amazing. Ben has released an album during this pandemic. Do you get a second album in the works now?
Feels like forever ago, eh? It was like I'm starting to already get like Facebook reminding me of all these songs that I put out. You know, they're all just like, "Remember when you did this?" It's like, holy crap, we're still in this pandemic. Like,
yeah.
How is it that this was like? It was supposed to be like a little. Oh, isn't this like a funny moment in time
Like
where
3 months.
where we were
we will look back on this fondly in about a decade.
I know. I was just like documenting it with these songs, being like, oh yeah, you know, like there's one of the songs is a Friday Night In, and it was about how it's like, it's kind of nice to actually be home and take in a soiree with your loved one, and then it's like I got like a reminder from Facebook being like, remember this song? And I'm like, I know, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I completely retract this song. I'm so sorry I ever wrote these lyrics. This is horrible.
It is, man. There's so many great things on that, like, but it was supposed to be like 3 months, and we'd have the opportunity to write more. We'd have the opportunity to kind of get in shape, diet, recharge, exercise. And you know what happens to a battery
None of that
when you leave
shit
it in the charger
happened.
too long?
It blows up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think my battery was rechargeable. I stuck it in the charger, and now there's acid leaking everywhere.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of acid too after all this.
Not the good, not the good kind of acid.
Definitely
either.
a perfect metaphor for how I've been.
Don't do the brown acid, man.
No, man, it's been cut with strychnine.
Oh, Woodstock.
None of us were there, but we all remember it.
That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell that we weren't there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Though those two above us weren't alive at that time, Mike.
I mean, we were there. We were being passed around. We were in conception.
We were thoughts.
We were thoughts.
We
were on our way.
High.
You were potential people.
Potential people.
Our
potential
storks
people.
were being born.
Just taking a look. Just take a look at that lineup of mugshots there. That episode 7 is staring me right in the fucking face. All right, I take a drink and everybody shuts up.
We defer to the moderator.
I am the moderator. So Ben, you also, thank you for the person who just dropped the like in there. This kind of show runs on likes, so thank you very much for the like. Ben, you are did you change careers slightly through all of this? Did you actually gain a new skill set?
Yeah, I mean, like, since the beginning of the pandemic, it was actually one of those things where everything in my life I feel like happens. It's like perfect timing. Like, I'm a procrastinator, but like a professional procrastinator. Like I know exactly when to, like, I'm Indiana Jones and everything I do, just getting right under the wire and grabbing my hat. Like, it's really pretty screwed up how I can make these things work for myself. But I literally did like my exam for real estate. I was studying it I did my exam for real estate just before the lockdown happened. So like a month in, I got my license for real estate, which was crazy because at the same time, like I had no idea this pandemic was going to happen, but at the same time, like, you know, one of the only industries that actually wasn't hurt, but actually had an influx was real estate. So it was like somehow I was just like, I guess, you know, I guess this is like a career that, you know, this could be my big boy pants. You know, it's like having like a beard, you know, like so like my wife doesn't know that I actually don't make money on a regular basis. It's like, you know, one of those things where I'm just like covering my tracks, something to pretend to be.
Yeah, but I think the word the best word for that situation though, Ben, would be serendipity, because it just happened to everything happened to align for that precise.
Yeah, see, I don't
thing.
do serendipity anymore. I was just doing way too much in the late '90s, and
you know, there's too many things that have come to a grinding halt, that when something does continue, grab onto it with both hands, I say.
I feel like a lot of people are going into real estate right now. I have a lot of people constantly messaging me, being like, "All right, so I've joined the courses, and how do I get, you know, how do I get into the market? Like, what can I expect?" And it's like it's like a you know, a life raft off the Titanic. Like a lot of people are just, you know,
Right.
except not a lot of women and children.
There is
a lot of dudes like me.
Wow. Okay, Pornhub lied. There is
No,
is it
No
the collapse of like Airbnb has kind of driven the real estate market?
Well, it's weird. It's like you know, yeah. I mean, obviously, there's a collapse in Airbnb. There's a lot of vacancy. I guess a lot of people that were holding on to having you know, apartments just so they can rent them out for Airbnb. So a lot of people are giving up those apartments. So there's a ton of vacancy, more than ever, especially downtown. You know, people are fleeing downtown also to get away from
The desire to touch people,
the pandemic, and the being close by. Like, downtown's like it's a ghost town. It's really pretty crazy now, and and that's why the prices are so insanely high in
social distancing is a little easier in the suburbs. More room.
Yeah, and also people can work from home, so they want more space for themselves, you know. So, you know, a lot of companies are actually transitioning to work from home. So now, like, you know, people are just fleeing from downtown. They're actually starting like new downtown cores, trying to do like these boroughs in like in Point Claire and out in Kirkland. They're going to start making Montreal more like, you know, just more of a spread out city a little bit, trying to, you know, give people other activities to do in other areas. And, you know, it goes along with them making that train line, the new, trainway. Yeah. So it'll
be like little satellite hubs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Satellite hubs.
They're getting a lot
activity.
done. They're doing a lot of work while this is going on. But let me tell you this: after this curfew is done, if they shut down the highway one more time, like, this was your chance. This is when you do all the work. If I get backed up at 10 o'clock on the 40, after this is done, we're coming to your house, bro. Like, it's not okay.
You know, for a second, I thought you were going to compliment Valerie Plante or something. It's like, because a lot of this infrastructure stuff is stuff that she's brought in. So you were praising that a moment ago.
I wasn't praising it. I was just saying it was happening.
Yeah. Well, that it was.
Yeah,
but it was creating the environment that's allowing you to be employed. Natasha Fillon is saying, "I love your laugh, Mike." Apparently, the rest of us sound like crap. But, thank you very much, Natasha.
This is our cue to turn Mike down.
I would love to get Natasha on as a guest at some point for this as well.
Oh yeah.
I was just gonna mention, because Ben was talking about, you know, everything that's going on, and you know, about the highway, but also Lord William Pub. So when Kyle and I brought back Offbeat, that street, because we've been in lockdown for a long time, and it was suddenly the day that Lord William Pub opened again. That's when they decided to close on the street and do construction, and the owner's like, "Well, what have you guys been doing for like 5-6 months?" You know, and then the night of the show, like people have to pull John Wick moves and try not to fucking get their backs out, and because it was just really ridiculous. But I'm like, yeah, what have you been doing for like the past 6, 7, even downtown, like. Because I go to work every Wednesday, and there's this gigantic construction. I'm like, what the fuck you guys been doing when the cinemas was not closed? Cinema was closed, and I'm like, God, like it's just ridiculous, huh?
Yeah.
But even before the pandemic, they were just been blocking people into their little, not even giving like tax breaks for companies that they decide to rip up the street in front of them. Like, how does that not affect a business?
Yeah,
exactly. But
Natasha's saying what a mess it was, and that she does love us all.
we love you too, Nash.
Just bring her in.
yeah, there we go. Just bring her in. Bring Natasha in. But man, I don't know. But downtown is a mess. It's like I'm like, oh man, what film set is this today? I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm not on film set. It's a real life Michael Bay documentary. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
So this pandemic is going to waste, basically. The opportunities for doing stuff when there's nobody anywhere around that they've got all the time they want, and they're wasting that time. They're wasting that time. They're waiting till people get back to work, and then they're going to shut everything down again. Yeah, that makes complete sense. It's like when they pave someplace, and like 2 weeks later they're digging it up because they forgot something.
Well, because the water department wasn't connected with.
Yeah, the guy dropped his watch. The highway. They got to open it. Sunday afternoon. You got to get his watch.
My Timex. Je veux ma Timex.
My mother gave it to me.
Oh yes. No, but actually, you know what? Since we're on the subject, the one place where it's always under construction, it's always that street going to the Bell Center. Every year at the exact same time. So I'm driving with my friend. I'm like, well, what the hell are you doing that they're doing construction here? But they did find a gravesite, but that's cool. Apart from that, it's like every year. It's always the same place, and it's the same guy.
Every year, they gotta dig up the Montreal Canadiens and put them back on the ice.
So. They gotta be like the
resting place.
Yeah, no, there's like someone who comes in with a spell, and like make Habs great again.
I saw this in Newfoundland. There was there was kind of a big discussion in the village my father's from, and I'm saying village liberally because 3 families. And it was about whether or not they were going to pave the road, because there was just the one road. If they were going to pave the road, because it was a gravel road out there. And the big argument against it, and the reason they didn't do it was, well, it gives summer jobs to the teenagers so they don't have to move to Alberta for the summer. That was it. It was to keep the families together.
Yeah,
so that's why they're redoing the same place so these guys can get their unemployment checks. Like they can qualify.
A village and a road.
You gotta love maritime little foibles like that. You gotta love the little things.
Whoa. Sorry, Mike. I thought you were learned. Did you just call Newfoundland part of the Maritimes? You were supposed to be the intelligent one on this panel.
They're not typically. They are. They have an honorific as a maritime part of maritime.
I don't know about the intelligent one, but he's definitely the only one that can afford those glasses.
The Labrador.
All the wine glasses behind you and all the silverware. What are you showing off, you bougie bitch?
This is live from my dining room. So fuck.
Yeah, that's it. He is.
Yeah,
he's our Premier Legault. No,
this is my nicest wall.
There is the Maritimes, which is, and then there's also the Atlantic provinces. Yeah. No,
the Atlantic provinces are not the Maritimes. Maritimes is Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and PEI.
Hey,
right? Okay, but the Atlantic provinces include Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yes, at least Newfoundland.
Okay. Well, it's Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yes, Newfoundland and Labrador is the province, but then again, we also say Nova Scotia and Cape Breton.
I've never said that.
Yeah, that's because you worked for the Postal Service. You don't care about Canadians.
I used to work for the post office. Not anymore.
Welcome to the Roast Mike Gamache episode.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, Ben. You're our guest, and we're being rude and not allowing you.
This is a big jump from the Bell Center.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
We were in the middle. We're in the middle of Peel, and suddenly we're in the Maritimes.
The vortex shifted us to the Maritimes. Huh?
Oh, Claudia just mentioned the fact that every year they rip up the same piece of road to work on it. It's just so the guys get their EI credits, right? So
Yeah.
Funny story, like sad.
That's the practice street.
Yeah,
That's where they
actually-
do all their training. That's a training street.
Actually, sad thing, Ben. Like going towards your place, there's always that one street, like 3-4 stops behind it. There's like a little avenue that's always under construction every freaking year.
You mean between your place and my place?
Yeah.
Like up a Beaubien?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. You see, this is why I never go toward your place.
That's a crashing party, man.
Okay.
Turn your camera sideways.
Sideways, like that?
Yeah, better.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. I think your screen might be locked.
Okay.
Okay, put the camera back because you. It looks like you're
Oh,
napping.
why
Like
is
we've
this like-
tuckered you out already.
Oh.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
We needed a laugh.
Yeah.
Now you're frozen. And now she's gone.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
It was like a video game. She like popped up. We like knocked her down and got her coins.
Whack-a-mole became Whack the Natasha. Just
Oh my.
Absolutely.
you know what? This is probably the most I smiled and laughed in the past week. So I'm very happy. All of you are here. No.
Yeah.
Now she's on the other side.
All right, everybody, clear.
The Bill Hicks line, like a dog that's been shown a card trick. We're all doing that.
Yeah.
Everybody, tilt your head at a certain degree. You can see Natasha.
It's all just out of solidarity, okay?
And
she-
Ben
and
with
she
the very
froze.
flexible neck.
Is she gone or is she gone?
Yeah, and
She's
she froze.
She's frozen.
God damn it! The one time we try to have a woman on here.
Let's just
you
keep
know.
her there the whole time. Let's just keep frozen.
I was just gonna mention keep her there the entire time. It's like on our like French podcast, like Peter's there, but Peter smiles the most awkward time. He's like,
Hey, sis.
am
I was gonna say Natasha represents the alt right in our discussion.
I just walked
there
in.
she is.
What do you say?
that you're a really beautiful girl. Yeah, that's it.
No. The alt right?
I said you
You were
represent
the-
the alt right.
because you're tilted on the other side now.
Alt right.
You were tilted. You were tilted this side. You know. So.
Yeah, but like, am I not like right? I'm new to StreamYard. Yesterday, I did an interview and I kept like appearing and disappearing, and anyway.
This is why we don't
Still
have the
learning.
internet.
I saw that interview that you did, Natasha.
Yeah, they really like you. I like
Yeah, I
you too.
know. I'm like, yeah, no. The moment that Robin's like, then Paul
Yeah,
Ash is gonna be
he's
on
really-
there too, and
He's so nice, and so is that girl Jenny. They're just so positive. It was just like the most pleasant interview ever. Like, it was really fun.
Which streamcast was this? Which podcast?
It was
Rob's
Rob's
inner
Inner-
circle.
Where
Rob-
in the circle.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Natasha, and then the next guest on Rob's Inner Circle.
Yeah.
Don't
You're gonna be
go
on
anywhere.
there too, Paul. It's
I know. I've been told that several times, and it keeps on being pushed.
yeah, no, he's,
Lise Gamache is saying hi. Hi again from Lise. Welcome, Lise. Thank you for tuning in. And get this, we're actually being spam botted.
want to become famous by
Yeah,
What
so-
is spam
somebody
bot?
actually thought
We're being
that
hacked.
we're successful enough.
Yeah.
To be
What's
botted.
a spam bot?
Basically, it's when you go on like Twitch or when you go on here, there's always like a spam bot. It's like, hey, you want to have more followers? Well, and then
Oh,
they give
he's
you a
selling
link.
followers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send us Bitcoin. Send us Bitcoin.
Send
you
us
get much
money,
more
a
power. Yeah.
bunch of.
Yeah.
So, Ben, what have you been doing like during the lockdown to keep active? Obviously, you restarted a career. You got a new career. You've been recording more music.
Well, it was weird because the first lockdown, I felt like it is entirely different from the second, right? Like the first one was exactly as you said earlier. It was like the recharge. People kind of almost felt, especially performers, felt like they needed, like, okay, let's just wind down. I mean, it was inconvenient at first. I had a lot of gigs lined up that I was really sad to have had to cancel. But
I hear that.
you got that. You got that moment to kind of like stop going up and take a second look at like new material and work on things. I got back into music production, and it just seemed like and it was the summer too. It was just starting to be spring and nicer weather, so it's kind of like all these like things happening at once to make it actually kind of like an interesting change in your life. As much as it was tragic, everything that was going on, you were kind of like, all right, well, I'm going to make the most of this and actually get better at something I don't normally do or whatever. So, you put a lot into that. And then when it opened up, it almost, again, for at least comedy, to start working back into it, it almost felt like a reward. At one point you're like, oh, this is great. I worked out some new stuff and I get to go on stage and try it. And it was always like, everything was like this was like the best case scenario. But then we got locked down the second time, really took the wind out of my sails. Like I didn't really know
the first one felt like everybody was hitting pause, and and everybody sort of went, okay, and it's going to last a little bit of time, and everything's going to sort of like, we're going to figure things out, everything's going to settle down, we'll get back to some semblance of normalcy. But the second one, when it came in, like after what was that, September? The kids went back to school. October, it hit bang bang. We've essentially been in a second lockdown, even though with the curfew and all that, there's been like more restrictions put on. But we've been in a second lockdown since October, right? Like just after the kids went back to school, and we had a super spike of cases. So
and what was depressing
now?
about that
Now it doesn't feel like a pause anymore. It feels like we're not on pause. We're like stopped. We're on hold. We're like stop recording now.
We have the liberty of house pets. Like we could go outside, but not too far. Come back. We're on a leash.
Rose Smith just mentioned that she loves Natasha. That she's.
I know she's my friend. I love you too, Rosie.
It's for me. It's been the curfew. The curfew, like during the lockdown, I was still getting outside. I was exercising. I was going out, and I was making sure not to interact with people. And the best time to exercise was when the streets were kind of empty. I'd be going out for midnight walks. Now I don't feel I can do that. Wanting to be safe, wanting to not.
I mean, they're talking about extending the curfew from 8 to 9:30 because of the lengthening days of the, we're getting sun till 7:15 now, so it's like it's light until it's like 7:30, and it's only going to get more because equinox is like 5 days away. So So, but even then, it's
the point
still
of how useless it is.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. I mentioned this last week. Legault was very proud of the lockdown, and we'd only be getting 9:30 if we move into orange. Like we're red zone here in the island of Montreal.
But I heard that we're going to slip into orange. It's just a rumor, but someone told me that at the grocery store that we're going to slip into orange in April.
That's if they. That's the carrot they keep holding in front of us. But the thing is, the Legault keeps on saying that the lockdown is the reason why Montreal or Quebec has been dropping. But it's not true.
Untrue.
Every other province, and they don't have the lockdown, have had the same drop in numbers at this time. So it's not. It's if we can just keep the social distancing, washing our hands, wearing our masks, being safe, reducing our amount.
I think despite all of the anti-masker idiots who keep getting a lot of press for some stupid reason, I think most people are very good about wearing masks, and I think that mask wearing is the key to preventing this shit from spreading. It's been shown time and time again in the areas around Southeast Asia and Australia and masking works. Masking is it's a very simple, very easy to do, and it works. So all these assholes who won't wear a mask, assholes.
Pissing your pants analogy is the one.
Yeah,
Claudio's been trying to talk.
Yeah,
I just want to mention very quickly.
I just want to say this. I'm holding my tongue for saying this. Yeah. I usually because of him, mental depression has been going up, skyrocketing. All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of I'm just putting this out there because I
have a lot of friends that are suffering right now. They're not good. They're not well. They're saying to me, they're like, I wish people would stop asking me how I'm doing. I'm fucking suicidal. I'm like, well, don't do it. They're like, no, but I'm not good. Like, they're just not good. Young people are not happy right now. I know a friend of mine turned 18. I'm like, 18 to do what? Stay home with your bubble?
I think that's the thing. Well, you go, Claudio.
So I'm sorry to bring this up, but there's a guy, his name is Freeway Frank, and he put a story. And I'm sorry if I'm the burden of bad news. I'm just trying to cope with this.
Oh.
There was a story about a dad who and this made me like really. There's a dad and a 6-year-old son who were talking, and the 6-year-old son was asking. He said it in French, but I'm gonna say it in English. Dad, are you happy in life? And the dad's like, yeah, no, I'm happy doing it. The 6-year-old son said this. He goes, Dad, I hate my life. A 6-year-old son, because of that. I'm holding back here, but of him, listen, it's a year now, okay? And I am fed. I'm unleashing this tomorrow on 3 Man Podcast, but I just want to let this out. It's been a year now, okay? The masks, social distancing works. This lockdown. And I'm going to say this over and over again. This lockdown is useless. Okay?
No.
It's
not
in a way.
No. If people
the curfew is
useless.
Yes.
The curfew is useless.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Sorry, the curfew.
Oh my God, we're getting lost in the lingo.
The restrictions.
Sorry about that. Wow,
the restrictions that are working are working. Don't
yes, I meant
get off that train.
The curfew is like
there's no point stopping.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. I was sorry about that.
The main depressing thing about this whole situation with Legault and what they decided to do is like, you know, when they started talking about having a second lockdown, you know, in the summer it was all opened up, and then we're like, okay, we're going to do this 28-day thing. And I was like, 28 days? That actually sounds like a great idea. And then I heard they were only closing down shit that doesn't actually affect the pandemic, you know, like when they close down restaurants, like the fact that they're still closed down, it's insane, because if you think about it, so many people were getting together in their own places and having no supervision. Like if you go to a restaurant with your friends, like at least they force you to respect protocols, to be distant, all these things. It's almost like being, hanging out with a referee. It's like, it's great. There wasn't really a lot of cases reported from restaurants and restaurant work, but there was a lot from retail. There was a ton from the schools, and this is where, and then, this is the two main things that were, the cases are coming in from. This is the two main things that stayed open during the second lockdown. I was like, there's no way. As soon as he called it, I was like, there's no way there's going to be 28 days. For 100%, it's going to be another 6 months. And then spring break comes around, and he wants to open up gyms and swimming pools as some kind of a reward. It's like, let's all go swap fluids. Like, we're fine, right? Like, what the it's just nuts. The decisions is what gets me frustrated. The decisions, it seems like we'll never finish this, the rollout, everything about the vaccines, it'll never finish,
Exactly.
I have so many friends like that have restaurants in St. Anne's, and St. Anne's is like busy, but it's my boyfriend's without a job. There's so many restaurant people that I know that I see them like, and they say like, I'm like, how are you doing? Like, you know what? The takeout's fine, but I miss my customers. I miss seeing people. There's a friend of mine who was like, you know what? I die to be in the juice right now, doing a double shift and be fucking tired. Because people that are working in restaurants, like that's what they want to do. You can't just like, if that's their career and they choose, like, it's not going to, they can't just say, get trained doing something else or become a real estate agent or, like it's not for everybody.
Especially sit-down restaurants, which are a social gathering, really. I mean, you don't go to you go to a restaurant to eat, of course, to eat the food. You choose your restaurants. But somebody who just wants to eat something, grab something quick at a takeout place like a burger joint or fast food. That's not the same socializing aspect as someplace where you go and you spend a couple of hours socializing with friends, enjoying dinner, and just
And I don't know.
Gathering.
I don't know about you guys, but like with my boyfriend, like I haven't had a sit down dinner with him since the lockdown started because we always sit and watch the TV. Like we don't have like, and when I go to a restaurant, I'm able to sit across from him and be like sociable, but we never eat with each other.
I know.
Yeah. We
That's
don't
the
have a dining
thing.
room
That-
table.
Yeah,
The
that's
thing
the
is, though,
thing.
the people who are anti-maskers, they invade these places.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same kind of person who has the mentality of, oh, I shouldn't have to wear a mask because it'll
Yeah.
make other people safe,
So
are the same people that are going to make a statement and be calling for the manager and be proudly jumping around. Like we saw the takedown video from Tim Hortons, right? And the amount of time that it accidentally happened.
He was looking at me.
For the podcast.
He knows I have a joke about that video.
But no, but
All right.
that, yeah.
But the thing is, it's when the bars were open briefly, adding alcohol into it, people kind of forgot about the masks and they'd be sitting
Yeah.
drinking,
People
and they
relaxed
get up
the
to go to
measure,
the
yeah.
to the
They
washroom,
did.
and it's like we just spent like 6 months being locked down because people weren't wearing masks.
Yeah.
Like put it on, and thankfully no one ever kind of like did a slap back when we said no, if you're getting up, put your mask on.
Yeah, exactly. It's this is what I don't and actually at my work I've encountered the very first day I came back, I encountered an anti-masker.
Oh, no way.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah?
oh,
You
yes,
saw
I'm like,
one. A live one.
and then I'm like, oh, like I'm like, because I know it's at a point where like because I've been working there for a long time, and the manager's like, no, that because I'm a projectionist, but I still do other like I was on floor, and they're like, if anything happens, if things get out of hand, let us know. I'm like, oh, I saw this, and I'm like, go ahead. Make my day. I'm like, you don't want to wear the mask, and he goes, no, I like he was saying some BS story. I'm like, you sure you really don't want to wear your mask? And he goes, no, man, you can't tell me what to do. I'm like, you really don't want, and then like security guards were coming, and I'm like, so now I get to tell you this. Get the fuck out. And then he goes, oh, you can't tell me. And then I swear to God, I thought he was gonna cough on me. So I did this.
Sounds like a zombie movie. You sure?
You know what? I thought I was gonna, but then
Fucking
I
mama.
I went really quick, and then I just fell, and then the security guards just literally grabbed him. I'm like, no, he didn't attack me. I just me being an idiot because I tried going out of my trying to pull a matrix, but it was so fun. But these people who are anti-maskers, I'm like, listen, it was. I had a time in my life doing this. Like that was my only.
Instead
anxious...
of doing any of that,
oh yeah, it was. But
you
yeah,
should have you should have let him into the movie, and instead of projecting the film he paid to see, project The Mask.
No, we can't. No. That would be good. After the first lockdown that happened, we'll let someone in, and then we got fined. While my manager got fined,
Shit.
so we could. I'm like, listen, if it's up to me, I'm like,
Yeah.
but it's just anti-maskers. That's why I'm waiting for one day to someone.
Montreal is the conspiracy theory capital of Canada.
I know.
It is. Did you see videos from the parade on downtown?
Oh, God.
No. What happened? I'm out of the loop for
There was
everything.
hundreds of people not socially distancing. Apparently, they approached the cops, but because they're white, they weren't being beat up.
Of course.
But I mean, like the Canadian capital or office for QAnon or unofficial fan club for QAnon, Montreal. Melanie Asaf is saying hi, guys.
Hey, Mel.
We also got like what was it? The deputy editor of the Stormer magazine, like the neo-Nazi magazine, lived in Montreal. The guy that created the Proud Boys used to be an editor for Vice. Created Vice.
Yeah.
They used to live above the
yeah.
Biff Tech on Saint Laurent. Yeah.
I had no idea.
There's you've got also, oh man, there's so much stuff that's here. Just the
But what
flat
happened
earth
on
people
Sunday?
here.
What happened on Sunday? There was a protest for.
The anti-mask rally.
I
that
heard
we were
about
just
that.
talking about?
Okay.
I think it was about the kids or something. Kids wanting their sports back. I think.
Yeah. I think that was.
Yeah, it's
that's
about
what it was.
petitioning for group sports to come back. I think that's what it was all about.
Yeah, that's true. A friend of mine told me that, and I'm like, all right, well, you know what? It's protest is not going to work. But hey, you know what, everyone? But no.
Actually, no. The protest is going to be worse because then we're going to get a spike.
Exactly. That's where I was heading into.
I mean, I kind of like understand. You know, obviously, it's like people are panicking, and like I get, especially with kids and sports, like that's kind of the only way they get activities. It's not like you can tell a kid, you know, you're getting a little dumpy, go to the gym and start doing dumbbells. You know, like it's not really, or you know, like we'll buy you some weight equipment. It's not really an activity that like you know they kind of go into. They need something to you know keep active, and I think a lot of people are getting unhealthy. So we have to like find alternatives for you know kids to buy every kid a Wii so they can play Wii tennis. And then
exactly.
I love
exactly.
But by the same token, you know, kids are the worst people to try to get the social distance and to
absolutely.
to health measures.
They're terrible. They go to my store in groups, in cluster.
Oh man, they start young, man.
And
Those
they
gang
touch
kids start
everything.
young. Yeah,
Touching everything.
I had to go pick up my niece and nephew last week, and everyone was storming out of the school. My niece and nephew, they're like hugging. I'm like, and then I'm here with my mask, and then my sister, she comes out hand sanitizers. I'm like, you know what? I'm going home. I'm not going in the same car as them. And then my nephew comes up to me and goes, "Oh, look what we did." I'm like, you know, you're not coming close to me. And then my niece is like, "Hey, for your birthday, we should come." I'm like, "No, it's okay. Just stay. Just stay there. I stay here." I'm like, I'm not getting my mom.
I think
sick.
at one point they had the schools were open or were closing, but the restaurants were open, right? They were starting to open restaurants, but the schools were still closed.
Yeah.
There was like a big protest about that. There was a meme going around showing, how is this okay? They showed like adults sitting around a dinner table, and this isn't. They showed like kids at a table doing like finger painting and crayons and stuff. I was like, I don't know, maybe because I've never been at dinner with my friends and we were giving each other wet willies. Like, that's fucking disgusting.
You haven't lived, my friend.
Yo, wet willies? I haven't done that since.
You haven't been hanging around with the right people.
Oh man, yo, wet willies are amazing.
You dropped Mike Nash's phone with that.
Where did Mike go?
Willies, I remember them back in the day.
His
The
phone just
Titanic,
dropped
he was
off
on
the table.
sunk. That's what
Oh my
happened.
god, yo, speaking of which, the conspiracy theory for the Titanic is the most hilarious thing I've ever. Yeah, we were trying to assassinate.
I'm back. I just knocked my phone down.
no, but so let's and did you all see a picture about people
What
in the
conspiracy
metro?
about the Titanic? What are you talking about?
Oh no! There's like a hilarious conspiracy that came out. It's like the Titanic sunk because it was trying to take out 3 people on that boat. So by sinking the ship, they thought they were going to kill those 3 people.
And they survived.
Yeah,
Was one of them the unsinkable Mary Brown?
Unfortunately, they were all women and children, so
I don't know. I have
they
no idea.
survived.
I have no idea. But
They should have been going for the violin player.
Yeah, but here's I was gonna also mention another thing. Did you see the picture of people crammed together in a metro cart? And then someone writes, "Yeah, okay, so restaurants and bars are closed, but everyone could cram into a metro cart. That's good." And then you see
Everyone
if you
can
pay,
live in a sardine can.
yeah, if you pay attention really closely, there's like some guy in the background that has his mask down. He's like about to cough. I'm like, yo. Oh man, that guy's like I want to
powder keg.
Sometimes you know what? Sometimes I want to pull a Joe Biden move. Huh? Like when he was doing his elections, he's talking, he lowers his mask, and he just goes, and he's I'm like, that is hilarious. Oh man, we start doing that at comedy shows. Hey Ben, so bring up Ben Cardilli.
But
Onto the microphone.
that happened to me at work. Like I had my throat was dry, so I coughed a little bit, and this woman turned around and she gave me this look. She's like, "Did you just cough in your mask?"
God,
and I'm like, she was gonna kill me with her eyes. Like, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm a smoker. I coughed." Like, "Oh, I used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore." I'm like, "All right, good for you." Like, but
I hate those.
Don't like if somebody sneezes the wrong way. Like everybody's like, "Who's sneezing in the store?"
I went to Walmart and I accidentally sneezed and then the person's like,
"Oh no!"
I'm like,
Did you get escorted out?
No. I gave her the look because you know how because when I get really tense for some reason I always do this, and I looked at her and I'm like, and she walked away.
before we change subjects, I do want to point out Mike mentioned how well Southeast Asia dealt with
Claudio, Mike,
with
Ben.
everything.
I heard Claudio was going.
Yeah.
And tonight, though, on They Talk Funny, the actual show, where I talk to comedians about writing comedy and life during COVID, I have the fantastic Brian Aylward on. Brian's originally from Newfoundland, which is also getting a shout out during this show. And he currently lives in Bangkok. He has a Netflix special called Big in Asia. Because
oh, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
which he recorded in a comedy club in Mongolia, because they have comedy clubs in Mongolia.
no, comedy is universal. Why wouldn't they have comedy clubs in Mongolia? Is there a place in the world that they don't have comedy clubs? Do you know that?
Gotta be.
It's very obvious where comedy
In
clubs-
Montreal right now.
Yeah,
for
right.
comedy clubs.
Yes.
Yeah. Very few comedy clubs. in
Saint
Montreal.
Eustache,
can
Saint Anne de
imagine,
Bellevue.
something
They don't
like-
have comedy clubs.
Yeah.
Comedy going against
Not
a lot
anymore.
of regimes.
That's
and
not my
stuff as
fault.
well, right?
Fucking Phoenix, man. Oh. I hope I can
Okay. You want to shoot yourself in the other foot, Nat?
I could see
I said
comedy
nothing.
not existing in some of these, like, more dictator kind of countries, and like
Yeah,
comedy's all about free speech, right? There's a
Did
couple
you guys
places
see
where
the
that's not really.
documentary?
It's a little frowned upon.
I
The
somehow
world,
don't think. Yeah, I somehow don't think Duterte is a very big comedy fan.
No.
You make jokes about Duterte and you're escorted outside and shot.
Hasn't he also tried being a DJ?
You bombed
I
and
think
he
so.
bombed.
DJ skill.
Yeah.
I could imagine him trying stand up just to get up there and says, "Yeah, this is punchline, laugh."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
No.
boom, he killed that night.
Oh, yeah. He killed the audience. Bring the next audience in.
Yeah, he's slaying. Actually, it kills me that I'm quoting William Shatner. William Shatner actually said, "Stand-up comedy is a life or death business.
Yeah.
Either you slay the audience or you die on stage."
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote that for him, but it was
Yeah.
like,
Good line.
But he said it more like, it's a life or death. You kill or you die, Captain's log.
Why is it so violent? Like, it's like, why does it have to be death? It's so dramatic, you
Well,
know?
it's very adversarial, right? It's like you against the like you have to trick the audience into
Yeah.
believing you and going along for the ride, and they have to get to know you really quick. It's kind of like it's a con. It's a bit of a con.
You draw people into your world. It's like being an illusionist, You establish a build a
my
world.
first Zoomy.
In a
Well, not
world.
my first Zoomy, but I think I did a Zoomy.
A Zoomy?
Comedy show,
A Zoomy.
like an open mic, but I got offered money to close one, and so I kind of okay, yeah, I'll do it. It still feels so weird. Like the material is there, and I knew the material that I did it, but without
Without any
that
reaction.
living and breathing audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's odd.
Since we're on this like I don't know if you guys want to be on this subject, but at first like I hated Zoom shows. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. But then after that, I'm like, all right, you know what? For me, it's a good practice because when we get back on stage, I'll be like, I remember when I said that joke, it sounds like crap. But now it's like, because I'm writing a lot, and I'm like, okay, so I don't know like what's gonna be, because there's no point in me just focusing on one joke right now. So I'm like, I want to go on a Zoom show. I went on a Zoom show last week because I did 2 of them. The first one, I'm like, man, it's like, is this how I really sound? Ugh.
I know.
But now, so now when I go back on stage, I'm like, all right, it's gonna be polished, it's gonna be better. But just for me, like it's good because it keeps me in the rhythm and the momentum. I'm, hey, you know what? I'm doing jokes, but even if I don't do it on, like, even if there's no audience, I'm still there. I'm like, all right. So what?
Practicing.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, it's
the
it's
next.
It's not the same, but it can open other doors. I think that when stages start to happen again, not everybody likes to go out. So I mean, maybe Zoom could be like another option on top of stages, and then reach a wider audience that way. Like, I'm not against Zoom shows. If more people, more fun, and if people don't want to leave their house, some people I know.
It's harder as a performer for me, but
Yeah.
Don Zanklin, who is on the far right of this. On the Battlecom, the last Battlecom that happened, which was February 22nd. The next one is March 29th. She mentioned that during with Ottawa reopening comedy clubs, she felt that she was a lot stronger from doing the Zoom shows. That she was much more comfortable in just going with the material because they have plexiglass in front, and with the lights, she's just sort of reflected back at herself, so she doesn't really see them, though she hears them, and so it's a lot easier for her to be in the moment of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
And Leonard Chan, who was the guest last week on They Talk Funny, they point out that they one of their writing tools is that they actually write. When they write their material, they'll read it to their webcam.
Yeah.
So they can look at the points that they can punch up or what makes them sort of cringe, and they use it as a tightening up tool. So, so I think the comedians who adapt to that are the ones who are going to come out of the lockdown a little bit stronger.
Oh, absolutely.
Lost Natasha there for a moment.
I was gonna say because before this lockdown, I did open mic in French at Le Bordel, and they have like a plastic surrounding them, right? And it's so weird because when you walk into it, right? Obviously you lock the door, right? Because it's like a little thing that they actually did, like you open and go inside. But when you lock, like first of all, thank God it's 5-minute sets, because after 3-4 minutes, like you start to feel like the air is not coming into you, but you don't take out a mask. But it's really good. It's safe because they have this happen. But like everybody has to go in, and you're in front of a plexiglass. But then at one point, because I'm so loud, I hear myself coming off the plexiglass. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But that's one thing that
Yeah, that would leave me with a fishbowl feeling.
Oh man! At one point, like I was doing my joke, and then all of a sudden I was doing it in French. After I did, and then everyone just paused and looked at me. I'm like, I'm opening the door, and I'm like, hold on, give me a sec, but like that's is that way like overboard? But no, I'm just saying like it was fun though. Like someone almost passed out in there, but that was
when things opened up after the second lockdown. I went to Ottawa to do a show, and they had the stage set up in a way that it was like two sides, kind of like angular, and then the front, and they had this big thing in front that was like kind of like it looked like more like a saran wrap. Like I felt like I was like leftovers performing, but it was only covering like the first, I was like, it was like, I'm trying to get it in the screen here. It was kind of like angular and then flat, and like it only covered the front, right? And like my whole instinct the entire time was to get around the thing. Like I kept talking to the people on this side, and it's kind of funny. It's like, I guess you got to pay more for the safe seats, because I'm just like spitting at these assholes. And then the guys in front are like the only ones that are protected, but they're not getting the show. So it's like, it's just weird. Like the front was the side of the stage to me. I was just trying to get like...
Talking about getting the show, we wanted to talk about recommendations or we've made some recommendations about things to watch during pandemic to kind of keep things up, because we've got just a little over 10 minutes left. Make Happy by Bo Burnham. I don't know, Natasha, if you've seen this.
I'm gonna make a note.
Okay,
but
it's
like I saw something the other day and it was so disturbing. My boyfriend watched it, like a tattoo too far. And it's like, I'm like, how is this on MTV? Like you're tattooing like something horrible, like Ben, like if you're like, oh, I'm gonna take your deepest secret and put it on your stomach, like huge, like
on
and
my
like
stomach or your stomach.
It's like reality TV. It's
it's
make
disgusting.
tattoos for each
anyway,
other,
it was gross.
Frenemies or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but no, back to you, Paul. You were saying it's the show's.
It's called Make Happy.
Make Happy.
The performer is Bo Burnham.
I love him.
Do we all agree that that's a stand-up set, or is it like theater? I mean,
it's got aspects of stand-up, but I find it's more of a show than a stand-up, a pure stand-up set, because like I love his music stuff. I love his takeoffs, parody songs and stuff like that. Things he does, but it's not really pure stand-up. And in his pure stand-up, I found he was a little bit hacky.
Are you a
Well,
purist, Mike? You're
he
purist?
addresses that right during the set. At one
Yeah,
point,
no,
he
no.
says
He
like,
makes
"I
fun
am
of his
not."
hackiness. Yeah, but some of his stuff, like it's 2013. Make Happy that was recorded, and some of his
Bentley?
stuff. Yeah, it was
Is that Bentley?
2013. Yeah, 2013. The show
Right.
was recorded, and
It was
some
already a
of
while
his
ago. It's a bit
yeah
dated.
yeah some of his stuff uh,
He did.
would be considered problematic nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
using certain terms that it's like cringeworthy a little. So
Well, yeah.
I liked the show. I watched it. I liked it, but I wouldn't. And to be honest with you too, I thought he was more of an entertainer than a stand-up, and it's sort of like it seems to me that that's what his whole raison of doing these shows was, because now he's more of an actor than he is a stand-up. I mean, they just put out the Academy Award nominations, and
He's a
there's
writer too, right? Very
the
smart
writer
writer.
and actor, yeah. And there's one of the nominated films, Promising Young Woman. He's in that.
I think
I want to
he's
see that.
playing-
That looks good.
He's playing
I
the
think you
male
watched the
lead,
wrong
Terry
thing.
Mulligan. Bo Burnham, no.
No. It Make Happy was 2016.
Well, the one I saw, it said 2013.
Okay, so you watched the wrong one. You probably watched what?
No, I think
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
happened.
because there's
2013 is what? And that one is cringeworthy, and I will
Okay.
definitely go
All
with
right.
you on that one. But Make Happy is the one that he ends with the
Okay.
Kanye impression. And as much as you were calling it song parodies,
Yeah.
the music's original.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
I wouldn't classify that as a song parody.
I thought it was
but yeah,
pretty good. The thing about that I noticed is that he does, like, going back to your point, Mike. He does address the fact that he's not the kind of stand-up that's going to sit there and talk about like the weather.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know anything. All he knows since he was a kid was performance. He was put into performance. So this is his life. Like, he kind of like goes through. These are all the things he's always wanted to do, just to entertain people, just to fool them, just to kind of. He laughs at himself. He laughs at how he's kind of like a white guy that
I'm gonna
has
have
had
to
the
go.
privilege. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go, guys. But thank you for
Bye,
having me on
Natasha.
Thursday. Thank you for
Have a
inviting
good
me.
one.
I love you guys. See you
Take
later.
care.
Bye.
Be well.
Yeah.
Take care, Natasha.
So a lot of the theme is how he's a white guy who had the privilege to just focus on his dream, and doesn't really have an opinion about anything, kind of. He's just so it's really it's very entertaining, but again, like, you kind of walk away from it feeling like you don't really have any new outlooks on life. It's just for the sake of
Yeah.
entertainment. He
Exactly.
goes all out, and
No, he's
so it's
very
a bit
good. He's a
different than
very good
stand-up like that,
entertainer.
but
He's not such a great stand-up.
I think if you watch Bo Burnham, or you see his appearances on the Make Happy, or if you see his appearances on the Green Room. Sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you want to finish that thought.
no, of course not. That's all I had to say. It's just him and do you know? Have you ever seen Stand Up for Drummers by Fred Armisen?
Yes.
It's kind of like that. I feel like this was really like, if you're a performer, like, a lot of this stuff lands with you, to watch. And then Stand Up for Drummers is that too. It's like, it's a very specific kind of special, geared toward very specific kind of people. But I think that Bo Burnham actually does a better job of pulling people in, explaining what he's doing up there, breaking the fourth wall of this kind of act that is kind of almost a criticism of comedy. It's interesting.
That wrap up, how he wrapped it up, the Make Happy. I don't want to spoil it for Mike. I think you reserve to yourself to watch the right one.
Okay.
It really, that one made hair on my arm stand up.
Okay.
Just about the burrito being too full. I mean, if you look at it, he was 13 or 14 years old. He had over 1 million followers on Vine. Like, that was his start.
Right.
And he worked to kind of keep it, and as an adult kept on moving forward and ahead. But like, as he said, it's like I don't really, like, I've never had a challenge other than what I was kind of given every opportunity for.
Right.
Mind you, he's incredibly talented and obviously works super hard to
Hard.
get that show down, because that show is loaded with little synchronicities and stuff that, like, a lot of regular stand-ups would never be able to put that kind of
Exactly.
to
that kind
visualize
of
ahead of time.
commitment into getting it down.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's working with like a stage director and a technician with the lighting cues, but
Right.
he's also handling a lot of the sound and lighting cues with the foot
Yeah.
pedals that he's going to, and to visually think of everything that he's doing, like that Kanye impression is holy crap, and he addresses. I think in Make Happy he sort of addresses some of the stuff that he did in What, as well, that the stuff that was a bit more cringeworthy. Yeah, he's I would say he's definitely intelligent, and it's a great critique and look inside.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm gonna say like exactly what Ben says. Like I just looked
No
at this.
original thought, Claudio.
Exactly. No, but I was just saying like this guy was an entertainer, and you know what? My kudos to him for just doing that. And yeah, because I thought I was the only one who was gonna think like his jokes were hacky, but then as the show was going on, I'm like, all right, no, I kind of see what he's doing because I was seeing was focusing more on the entertainment. Then and then just throwing in some jokes here and there. But now the more we're thinking about it, is the more we're like the more we're thinking. I was thinking, all right, so I see what he did with the hacky jokes, but oh man, like just him, just wow, like as an entertainer, that's all I have to say.
But you could tell, like, it's like, so much of the ideas he had were just like spur of the moment, like two people like laughing about this. What if we did this? And like then they actually committed to putting the infrastructure and finance behind doing that crazy dumb idea that's super random that might not even. It's like he really committed to some of these to these bits, like and the intro going into the show. Like from the intro into the show and how he starts it is brilliant. Like that was probably the biggest like I actually laughed out loud by myself, which you don't do when you're watching comedy alone. Like admit it. You're just there like clever. You're like Robert Muldoon from Jurassic Park, like clever girl. That's like me watching comedy at home. But when he jumps from like the song that starts the show of like that, and we start the show now, and then I talked to like the whole like drastic change or the lights come up is so funny. It's like genius. I don't know.
Yeah. He's definitely talented. There's a clip of him on the green room, and it's Paul Provenza, but the guests are Judd Apatow, Mark Maron, Ray Romano, and he's passed now. Larry Sanders, the guy, Gary Shandling.
Okay.
Oh, right.
All right. So Paul Provenza and Gary Shandling were the only two people on the panel who knew who Bo Burnham was.
Right.
And like Judd Apatow's trying to introduce who this guy is, and like Mark Maron has kind of been giving him sideline looks like who's this kid here? Like why does he have an opinion?
Right.
Yeah.
And so he brings him, Paul Provenza being a good host, brings him into the conversation and says, what I really liked about, well, hold it. Why don't you do that song? Because I think Bo Burnham says, well, look, I'm 21. I don't want to even hear my opinion. Like, why does anyone stand-ups about opinions? I don't really have one. And he says, well, why don't you play the song Art is Dead? And he goes and he plays the song. And it's just so perfect about, I'm an entertainer, about being an entertainer, and it hits so well and it finishes. And like, I think when he was walking up there, Mark Maron goes, "Oh, so you're a prop act," and then when he leaves the piano, everyone is applauding. And as soon as there's a diet moment, Mark Maron goes, "Yeah, that was cute." But it was so
Maron.
So obvious that like Ray Romano, like everybody else, was just all of a sudden, holy fuck, who's this kid?
Yeah,
to be that talented at that age and to command like the green room audience, who's a lot of jaded comedy fans in it.
Yeah.
To just bring them to attention like that and make them see with with music.
It's really something.
So
He's
you
really
should play
good.
your little tunes, Ben. You should really.
I feel like it's different. It's like I was actually thinking about that the difference between like my comedy music and his comedy music. His comedy music is really performative in a way that like it laughs at the structure of music. It's not as, he's coming from a comedy side, and it's like he breaks down the songs so they don't follow a specific structure. He has pauses and like talking in between and like addressing the audience, doing all kinds of things. It's really great. I like aspire to get to that point because I'm coming from like a music background where like the song is king, and I'm just trying to like get the structure down, and I have this process to making songs that like almost like I need to break it down more to fit more comedy in between the lines, to be more
your process.
I mean, like, it's just, I was just doing the same thing that I do to actually write real songs that I used to write, which was like I would come up with a bunch of music first, and then I would come up with like a melody and then some lyrics, and they all have to fit within this rigid kind of, stanzas in the lines, and make sure like the lines all fit together. Like, it's just like, it's much more about like what you're going to hear and like to tap your toe to it, less so that, and that it's going to all be within, a certain structure, less so that it's like an ongoing joke that can stop and kind of like let people in more. So like if I ever do another album, I'm going to try to make it more actual comedy music. I felt these songs were more about, the jokes were more in the music video. I wrote the songs to go with the music videos and back and forth. So you can still hear the album on its own on streaming services, but for the most part, it was about making those videos and showing, us in quarantine and all this stuff, and then people can relate to that part of it. So I think that's where most of the punchlines came from, was the visual that went with the music,
Okay, let me ask you this, Ben. Is the music a vehicle to put the comedy and the lyrics to, or are the lyrics a complement to what you say you write the music first? When you're writing the music, do you have an idea in mind for what this music where it could go structurally with either serious lyrics or comedic lyrics?
I mean, for this album, for the comedy album, I mean, it was essentially just, I would come up with a concept, something I wanted to say right first. Mm-hmm. That was like, okay, this would be one part of the experience. And then I would try to match up like a style of music to go with that concept. Right, because all the songs on the album are a different style of music, and I would say, this might be funny with this. So then I would make like a track, like I would make like a full track, a backing track for something, and then I'd come up with like the lyrics and the jokes and everything, and just try to keep it to the theme. And that's, so it was very much like building blocks from the ground up to make sure that it was in line. Like, I never really start with like I'd start maybe with like one line, like it'd be fun if I said this, and then I'd one line of the chorus, and like that's what's going to drive the whole song. But then I'd only come back to the lyrics once all the music is done.
Okay.
Claudio, you had a question a little bit earlier.
No, I was just gonna say, Ben, whenever you're gonna do those shows, I'll be your fireworks guy. So if you got some fireworks explosion,
don't give him matches. Don't give him matches. We're not allowed to give Claudio matches.
He'll be like, Claudio, why is this place getting caught on fire? Well, I had some problems with Mike. Mike didn't know how to use them, so I just did whatever I did.
With all the setup it took before this podcast to get that one mic to work for you, you're definitely the guy I'm going to come to for tech.
Don't worry, man. I'll be your tech guy. and then I'll charge $5 an hour. Don't worry. I'll be back.
All right. But I think we've been at this for a little over an hour, so I just want to remind people that 8 p.m. tonight, I'm going to be talking to Brian Aylward about comedy writing and a life during COVID. And if you sort of like this entire thing about talking about comedy in the middle of the day, I do want to kind of point out that this Thursday I'm doing a special edition. So Brian is actually located in Bangkok, so he's in Thailand, and so Tuesday, so he was able to make the 8 p.m. call. It's going to be 7 a.m. in the morning for him when he's talking to me.
A little bit of a
yeah. But on Thursday at 2 p.m., which is 7 p.m. in the UK, I'll be talking to Alison June Smith, who's headlined the Comedy Nest here in Montreal. She's originally from the Prairie Provinces and is currently living in Manchester. So she's quite successful as a comedian over in the UK. I'll be talking to her at 2 p.m. For episode 47 of They Talk Funny. on a Thursday at 2 p.m. Ben, what do you have coming up?
Well, not a whole lot. Binge watching a couple shows. I mean, tonight I'm doing a live show. I believe it's about the service industry, and it's with Kelly Zemnikas putting it on. I do have details about it here, but I feel like I would waste your time. So I'll post about that on my social media, though. I'll probably share it on my Instagram or something. And then tomorrow I'm doing a show for McGill. It's another fundraiser. Me and Griffin Shorts are going to be doing some comedy sets along with a mixologist. It's going to be pretty fun. Probably also end up on my social media at some point. If I didn't get finished binging my show.
Yeah.
And I do also want to say before we end this podcast that if you've seen me be like super sniffly throughout the podcast, it's because of it's allergies, and I don't have like a mirror of Coke in front of me that's just getting me through this thing. It's allergies, okay? Just to let you know.
Okay.
That's it. We want to actually remind people to press like, hit subscribe if you've enjoyed this conversation. Tune in every Tuesday at 2 p.m. We're going to be here with special guests, and who knows? We ask people in the audience to drop in on occasion as well to just totally create the madness that we deserve. Among my partners is Claudio Capri Comedy. You can find him. He's a part of the Dirty Four podcast group, and so he's got stuff in French and English all over. Check him out, Claudio Capri Comedy. Where is that? Is that your Twitter or your Instagram?
That's my Instagram.
On Instagram. Right. Mike Gamache is too old for social media. So, as you could tell from that wheeze, what the hell was that?
Yeah, well, you know.
And I am Paul Ash. I do all kinds of stuff. And all of it can be found. Where'd it go? Damn it. Apparently it can't be found. All of it can be found if you go to the link tree. And if you want to donate to this channel, the top link at the link tree is there. There's also the merch store. So there's Battlecom, the Love Doctor. I produce his show, and also the They Talk Funny. Cheers. Yes, go ahead, Ben. Say it. I know you're waiting to say it.
Nothing. Just you guys haven't noticed that I've been frozen for the last 2 minutes. I put a lot of work into that. I didn't even blink. I was like, nobody missed me. It's fine.
I miss you, Ben. I miss you all the time.
All right. Get a room. There it is. No, he's leaning in for the kiss. Go for the.
What? No, other side.
God damn it. So
this is so funny coordinated.
Gross.
There he is.
Oh, okay, Ben.
There we go. Eight loves grand.
Hey guys, it tastes Mama's lasagna.
I can take.
This one is